Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Andy, and this is not the Fresno State Coronavirus Dynasty. I'm actually going to start a new dynasty using Create a School, and I've talked about it a bit in previous videos and in YouTube comments, and just like that, we get a video because I've been sitting here too long. Anyhow, we're gonna create a new school. I've been talking about it in streams, been talking about it in YouTube comments. The idea here is that I'm not only going to run a separate dynasty. Now, this is separate from the Fresno State Coronavirus Dynasty. I'm going to keep doing that. This is going to be side by side. Part of the purpose is so that I can export draft classes and import them into Madden 07. So there will not only be this new dynasty happening, there will also be a Madden franchise incoming. And that will be, I'm pretty sure that will be simulated. I really have no interest in playing the actual game of Madden gameplay. But simming Madden is super fun. Managing your team, drafting players, signing players, trades, things like that, you know, GM type of stuff, and strategy. That stuff is a lot of fun. So I'll be doing that in Madden alongside. But the basis of this is we have to start a new dynasty in NCAA 07. So this video will be to set up the new school, and I'll have a separate video for when we start the new season. But for now, we are going to create a school. So, hope you'll enjoy this. I think this is a lot of fun. I actually started to do this on my own, but I thought, you know, it'd be fun to actually show the team creation process. So we're going to go to create a school, and we're actually going to be doing the Space Force. This is all set up already. As you can see, we have, it was already loaded. We are doing the Space Force Academy. We have Army, we have Navy, we have the Air Force. We're also going to have the Space Force. And I've already set up a lot of the things in here, so we don't have to click through them. The logo I thought was kind of cool. It has some significance in physics. I forget what. You can look it up if you like. But this is what we're going with. I went for some kind of unique colors. The colors are not real bold, but this is kind of a, you know, we're not going to be very good. I don't think we have earned the right to have any kind of flashy colors, and that's, to me, kind of the persona of the team, is to be a service academy that is not really that great at football, and also have a few interesting rules that I'm going to be doing too. And I've done some practice runs by simulating, not by playing, but I've done some practice runs in simulation. I think what I'm going to be doing is, now the whole initial idea was to do athletes only, which sounds ridiculous, and I tried that with simulating. It did not work, and I accidentally left coach contracts on. I gave it 2 tries. First try, I won 0 games in 2 years, got fired. Second try, or did I say second try before? That was the first try. Second try, I managed to win 2 games in 3 years. So I won a game in my first year, I think. First or second year, I won a game. That bought me 1 more year. Third year, I won a game, but it was not enough to save my job. So we're definitely going to be playing this one, and we're going to do all athletes. So it'll probably be some kind of spread kind of option type of deal, because we'll probably have a mobile quarterback. You know, we'll have to fit our exact play style to our personnel, but that is the overall idea. Now, to get around the fact that it's almost impossible to recruit offensive and defensive linemen, especially, I would say, offensive linemen. Defensive linemen is actually not that bad. You'll get athletes here and there who are in the neighborhood, 6'2" to 6'4", 250 pounds or so. They'll have some tackle ability. Defensive line is not that hard to get an athlete. I mean, you're not going to get many. Now, receivers, running backs, DBs, you'll get those like no tomorrow. And a lot of the defensive types you can put at linebacker as well. But offensive linemen is very difficult to recruit. So the other thing I'm going to be doing is in in-season recruiting, I'm going to be recruiting all tight ends because they typically have some blocking ability, typically in the 60 range. So those will be guys that I can change their position to offensive line or defensive line or H-back, and certainly we'll get some tight ends that are actually good at tight end for sure, because I think I'm going to not restrict myself on the star rating of tight ends. Because also another thing is tight ends are one of the probably least impactful positions in this game. A good tight end really doesn't do a lot for you. If you get a good blocking tight end, that is nice. But because they lack speed, especially against Heisman CPU defense. They so lack speed that they're not that effective as receivers. So I think that will fit the spirit of what I'm trying to do here by recruiting nothing but tight ends in-season recruiting. So let's continue with this here. We're going to be the Cosmonauts. I kind of kicked around a few ideas for mascots. That's pretty much the best I could think of. It really would have been nice if I could find something that the announcer would actually say, but I think I would have to pick from existing mascots, and I think we'd be limited to something like the Rockets or something like that. Now, if I go back and I find that there is one that fits, like maybe if there's maybe like one AA team that has a mascot that would fit, the announcer would actually say, I'll probably redo this entire video, to be honest. So if you're seeing this, it means there were no other mascots. I just now thought of that, to be honest. So I'm going to go ahead and continue for now as if the Cosmonauts are a mascot, which I actually like. But I would favor something I don't like as much if the announcer would say it. So we're gonna keep going. So we're also going to be in California, which is going to help us quite a bit for recruiting. Now, no, we're not going for high recruits. We're going for athletes. It should help us with the number of recruits we have available, not necessarily the caliber, because we're not concerned with caliber. I'll take 1 star or whatever. You know, it doesn't really matter. We're going for all athletes. So Palmdale is a potential site for the Space Force headquarters. Now, this is a bit of fiction here, as if you couldn't already tell. I believe there is not really going to be a Space Force Academy. I think any kind of effective academy they have would be merged with the Air Force, because from what I read, there are Space Force, I think, cadets or recruits, and I believe they are working with the Air Force, which is in Colorado. But we're going to go into the fiction realm and have a Space Force Academy in Palmdale, California. So let's continue. Let's go with this. I think playbook doesn't matter too much. Now, team type, current players will be lost. That's fine. Our current players don't matter too much. So I did try Cupcake at first. You can't win anything. Cupcake is horrible. With Academic, you actually have... Now, if I was just simming, I might try Cupcake, but their players are so bad. They're all... I think your best player is probably like a 56 overall. With Academic, your best player, I think, is about a 65. Now, seeing this C rating is kind of a misnomer. Wait, do we actually get to roll? C minus, C minus. Okay, I think they end up being the same. I'm not sure. We'll see. The practice runs had certain players. I'll recognize if they're the same players. So anyhow, we're going Academic so that the players can actually play. If they were Cupcake, the players would basically be walking around on the field. Like when you see a kicker run down on kickoff coverage, his speed is usually like a 48. He's basically walking. He can't even run. So if we go ahead and do Academic, we'll at least be able to run. Guys will at least be able to move around a bit. They'll be terrible, but they'll be able to move. So that's what we're rolling with. As far as fight song, I just kind of went through. This one starts with drums. It's kind of quiet, I think, so I don't know if you can hear that. But anyhow, we're going with a drum. It has a nice little drum intro. We're going with the Utah State fight song. And then the mascot, this was a natural. It's the Toledo Rocket. He's a Rocketeer type of guy. The logo isn't super, prominent. At least on my screen, it doesn't really dominate. It doesn't really, doesn't take much away the fact that it says Toledo on his outfit. So we're going with that. So as we continue, I don't know if it's got my stadium saved. Okay, we do. We are going to play in Lockheed Stadium. Lockheed Martin is the biggest, from according to Google at least, and kind of general knowledge of defense contractors for the military, Lockheed Martin is the biggest defense contractor for the Air Force. So we're going to Lockheed Stadium. I would have liked to gotten Lockheed Martin Stadium on there, but it would not fit. Stadium type. Now, the thing that I'm going for here, I don't know if you've ever seen or been to Nevada's stadium in Reno. That's one of my favorite stadiums. It's kind of a decently modern looking, smallish stadium. It's really cool. So I'm kind of going for that feel, where we have a nice stadium, but it's just not that big. That will kind of limit us on attendance and things like that. But once again, we're going for kind of a, very middling to weak service academy type of deal for our team here. So I picked out press box, the field surface. We're going multi-turf. This is the desert. I feel like it's probably hard to keep grass alive. Grass is kind of the classic. I also like the stripe effect of the multi-turf. So at midfield, we're going with a school logo, NCAA logo. So another thing is we are going to be in the we're going to be an independent. I'm going to be removing Temple if I haven't already done that. Oh no, I haven't done the actual dynasty setup, but we're going to be removing Temple. We're going to play in the independents. That way we can kind of schedule who we want. We can throw in a couple of 1 or 2, maybe 1AAs. We'll see. We'll see about 1AA. I'm definitely going to have a couple of 1AA for the first season. Also, the first season I'm going to sim. I'll talk about that stuff when I get into the dynasty more, but I'm just laying out the rules kind of as they come to mind here. End zone, again, it's kind of a classic look. We could do, I mean, checkerboard, that's too close to Fresno State. Diamonds I think would work. To me, diamonds is not really the most visually appealing thing. The nickname or the school name, I don't know why that, I'm not sure why that's blank. I don't know if it's like a blue font and it blends in with the blue. Actually, if we change that, yeah, there we go. You know, so I guess we could do that kind of thing. But I'm really just feeling the classic, the stripes. To me, it's kind of a classic look. Also none, but I like having a pattern. So I like the slash look. It's just kind of like an old school, you know, like I said, kind of classic look. Not too flashy. Almost like we don't deserve, you know, more modern look, a more modern look kind of thing. Track, we're going to go no track. Track is kind of a, well, I guess maybe we could have a track. I think we're going to go no track. This is Palmdale. There's plenty of real estate. We don't need a track in the football stadium. So that touch of modern we will have, because more modern stadiums typically don't have tracks. And the backdrop, we have to go with the desert. I considered campus because it is supposed to be an academy, but you can see the trees, the mountains, it's rather green. This is Palmdale, California. So rural might work, but we're going to go desert. We're going to go desert background. That's more the spirit of what we're going for. It's rather desolate out there. So here I've already kind of picked out, and I actually didn't know. I thought I was going to have to click on all these. Somehow it saved it in memory, so I'm totally fine with that though, so I can just talk about these things. This is the uniform we're going with. Again, not very bold colors, almost like we're not deserving of a bold modern look. And to me it's a little bit modern because the number, I do like the modern number, but everything's kind of muted, almost kind of understated, and that's I feel like it fits the vibe of what we're going for. We don't plan on being good. This is going to be very difficult. We're not going to win a lot of games, at least at first. Really don't know how it's going to go, but I want it to be very difficult, and this I feel like fits the spirit of what we're doing. You know, the Air Force, or the Space Force is not big on having a really good football team. Now that number color could use a bit of a spruce up, I feel like. Number name. Now the number is darker than the name. What if I go here? It lightens them both up. Yeah, so I think I need to go with white actually. So we end up with gray for the number. This is a bit Detroit Lions-ish, but I don't think it's too bad. It's a more muted kind of, almost like pastel-ish blue color as compared to the Detroit Lions, so I think we're good. So we're going to proceed. We're going to edit and save. And I think the funny thing is I actually deleted the Space Force from the other file. So anyhow, that'll do it. That's the video. That's it for now. I'm going to be setting up the Dynasty in another video. And also, I'm not doing this on Twitch as a stream. I'll be streaming the games once I get into them. But this Dynasty setup, and I think the first season where I sim, I'm going to be just recording a video for you guys to watch, just to kind of get it out of the way. Also, if there are any kind of mishaps or unforeseen things to where I have to go back and reset or change anything or do any do-overs, I have the liberty to do so, and it won't be something that kind of wastes folks' time on a stream. So anyhow, that is this video. This is the Space Force Academy Dynasty. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be fun, especially with the coupling with Madden 07 and importing draft classes, because of course we are going to want to get a Space Force Academy graduate drafted into the NFL eventually. One thing I didn't check on, I don't know if the college will show up as Space Force in Madden. I actually don't know. It might show up as Temple. At least we'll know that if it's Temple, it was our product of the Space Force. Anyhow, that's it. Space Force, guys. I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. And we'll see you next video with Season 1 Sim and getting into recruiting. We'll see you then.